What is up, everybody? It is your boy Shocker and the Nice Hedgehog here with our Week 6 team builder for the WWC, going against Monk and his Alaskan Ice Cubes. Monk is a coach that I've never faced before. I could have faced him last season, but we were not in this. I think the last season or the season before that, but we were never in the same division. So unfortunately, sorry for the little laugh there. My cat just tried to climb up the bed and he just slipped down the bed sheet. That was pretty funny. But anyways, you've never faced Monk before, so I think this could be the first time I've ever faced Monk. I'm actually looking forward to facing Monk for the first time since I've never faced him. But this matchup is just not in my favor here this week, and I think our 5-game winning streak is gonna officially come to an end at the hands of Monk, guys, just because of the fact that Monk's team is stupidly good. It has a lot of repeated typings across the board, and it has not really the best type of synergy with each other, but it's still a team that's disgustingly good. Whew, excuse me. And let me give you the reasons why. But before we get into the reasons why I'm breaking down this matchup, hit the like button if you already subscribe if you are new. Join the Shocker crew today because you'll be feeling with the king of the crew. And with that being said, let's pick back into this video. So looking at Monk's team, he's got Coco Raichu, which means Raichu gets the +2 speed boost from its boost and given towards Coco, and that really sucks. But the good news is it cannot be a terrain extender. Coco's terrain extender Coco, first of all, in my honest opinion, would be really bad this matchup. I really don't think it provides a lot of things for him. So there is that. Oh, excuse me. In that regards, but still big issues right there. He's got Mega Zam, which if it traces certain things, it's scary. And I would not like to have that happen. Therefore, just a really annoying mon. Also, Toxpex, I was hoping a Ferrothorn, but I mean, after the weak Serena played last week, I can see why. But still, one Ferrothorn! But anyways, a Toxpex with Ferrothorn is, and a Licky Licky, God, that's still gross. If I had a Metacham, I'd be fine. And then he's got Lando T, which he actually, I think, picked up pretty late in the round, which I think was really good. Hydreigon, a Phenomenal Dragon, as well as Dark, Arbaldo, and Slapdaw. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for yawning so much, guys. I'm just so tired for some reason. Armaldo, a slept on Mon, as well as Typhlosion being a slept on Mon. That I think. Of course, my cat keeps doing this thing to me, man. Keeps messing with my buttons. But, anyways, looking at Monk's team, I could see the Licky Licky coming. There's a possibility he may not bring it. I honestly don't know what 6 he's going to be bringing. I think the main 6 I expect him to bring is Landers T, Mega Zam, and Coco Raichu. Those 4 just alone are stupid. I think he is going to bring the Toxapex, as he does need something to stop a potential Belly Drum setup. Slurpuff needs something to kind of really wall and stop Dracovish from doing too much spreading damage, even though Ferrothorn can do it. Ferrothorn really kind of doesn't want to at the same time, so it's definitely going to be one of those matchups that's going to be a bit rough for us, but I think it can actually provide a lot of good utility towards us if we can find around it. Hydreigon could be something be brought. I don't realistically think it's going to come, because it's forced to run max speed Timid Scarf to outspeed my team to hit, because the reason being Genesect, and also I feel like Scarf really limits. Oh my god, so sorry guys. I feel like Scarf really limits Hydreigon's usage in this matchup to do a lot of things, and plus I can just slap the Salt Bass. I can actually play around the Scarf Hydreigon and stuff like that, so I feel like Hydreigon doesn't come. Armaldo I don't think really comes. It does have some merits, but I really don't think it could come. It could still come. I gotta be very careful about that. Well, that. I think Ferrothorn definitely is coming. I only have a few answers to Ferrothorn, being my Cinderace and Hitmonchan. But Hitmonchan doesn't really want to win down and doesn't really want to run protective pads. Dracovish, again, is a really good stop wall. It's a really good stop wall to Slurp Up, even though Slurp Up hits +6, it still doesn't do much. You could still run the Chop Berry. It could still run. Excuse me, enough defenses to where it can actually live a Drain Punch from a +6 attack. So it's definitely going to be a mon it's just going to be super annoying. Lander C has to come because if he does not stop it, Calm Mind Zero literally would win. There's no question. Anybody wondering why Calm Mind Zero wins? Think about it. If Landers is not there, I run Calm Mind, I run Thunderbolt, I run Shadow Ball. There's nothing else I really need to run. I would run Knockoff as a move to kind of hit Raichu, and then point of the range of when Raichu's been hit after my Calm Minds, I can then kill it with a Thunderbolt afterwards. Well, with Electric Train gone, depending if I get a boost or not, may not kill with Thunderbolt, but it could still kill. But yeah, I think overall though, this is not going to be easy for us guys. I really don't think we're going to be able to stay undefeated this time. And we're always bound to run into those matches where you really realistically just cannot win this game. And I've come to accept it. I was never expecting myself to get this far with my team to go undefeated for 5 straight weeks in a row here. Um, it's honestly incredible. I was kind of having the same thing like in this one league as well, where I pretty much went undefeated. I lost one game in the regular season just because I made some pretty bad decision calls, but it was also a relatively tough match because I had to decide between certain things, but didn't pay off in the end for me. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna quick marrying around about this. Of the four that could still come, Typhlosion is also a bit of an issue, but I don't think he would really bring it unless he was forced to bring Scarf Typhlosion. But then again, he's got to play around that. And Scarf Typhlosion honestly is not realistically the best thing to have against my team. But it could be something, so who knows? Even though Specs is better. Amalo I don't think really comes, like I said. Hydreigon don't really comes. Licky definitely could come to this matchup, knowing that my fighting type is extremely pressured in this matchup with the fact that I have a Toxapex, Landers, T, Coco, Raichu, and then Zam. I think definitely he would feel comfortable bringing Licky against me if he can do that. And plus, if I'm going to say anything, Pax is probably going to be his mixed wall. Where if he brings his three bulky bonds, Pax is going to be his mixed wall. Licky is going to be either his physical or Spadef wall, and then Ferroform will be the physical or Spadef wall, and vice versa. So he's got three mons that literally can play perfect defense against each other and have really covered their weaknesses to a good point in that regard. So it's just so stupid annoying. I will admit though that Monk really did a great job with his three main defensive pieces. Really paired them up well, which I gotta give Monk credit for that. But otherwise, looking at our team, I had to really think this out. And there's a couple of mons I really wanted to bring to this matchup, but I feel like just can't do it. First off is Hitmonchan. I think Hitmonchan can really do well with this matchup if we could make some things work. But it was just a struggle to run sets that would work because I had to run Thunder Punch, Fighting coverage, Dark coverage, or Earthquake coverage if I can. But Earthquake I feel like doesn't really add anything besides hitting the Raichu and Coco. Because then you think about it, I have to run Earthquake, I have to run Ice move, I have to run the Electric move, and then I have to run a Fighting move. And my Fighting move doesn't really help me. I still can't outspeed his team regardless what I do. So it's just a losing battle for Hitmonchan, so I'm not going to bring that. Dragalge, I think, really could have came in the clutch this week. The problem with Dragalge is the fact that there is, for one, an Alakazam that could trace my adaptability, and I do not want that. There is a Landorus, which I can't realistically hit unless I have to rely on my Dracos or that. There is a Raichu, which outspeeds me and can kill me in one hit. Well, it doesn't probably kill me in one hit, but there's a Ferroform, and I have to rely on Focus Blast to connect on that one. Then there are things like Hydreigon that outspeed me and can kill me on the physical side. There's Licky, which can actually be designed to take all my hits. Dragalge was just so pressured into this matchup. And if I know what 6 Monk brings against me and I can kind of plan on what he brings towards me, I could play around it and actually, in a potential rematch, which this could be, who knows, I'll actually get to know exactly what Monk's going to do to me. So definitely something to note with that there. But again, Dragalge, I just did not feel like had the good match. So right there, I'm down to 8 Mons to pick from. And this was so hard. I ultimately decided not to bring Cinderace and Zeraora. Now, the reason I didn't bring Zeraora, there was just way too many complicated sets I could have ran with Zeraora. There was mixed sets, there was Calm Mind, there was Bulk Up. The problem was, I feel like Zeraora, with the way it was pressured, was just not going to be able to get the set I wanted at the end of the time. Because, think about it, right? With this team, I gotta have Plasma Fist. I have to have knockoff in order to hit Raichu. I need Blaze Kick or fighting coverage to hit both the Ferrothorn, or well, fighting coverage for that, but fighting coverage to hit both Ferrothorn and the Drake on the Hydreigon in case I don't want to run the Fairy move, which instant kills it. And then I have to run potentially again the fighting guarantee the fighting coverage is a thingy. But then there's the last move where do I run something like bulk up? Do I run something like taunt? Do I run something like volt switch? Like, and then the item would have all been forced into Shuka Berry, which I don't think would really benefit Zeraora for this matchup. I feel like Zera could have done so much more than having Shuka Berry as its main item. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really hard to tell for this matchup in that type of regard for that. So. And then the mon I really, 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 really wanted to bring. Sorry to hear notifications. The mon I really, really okay. People need to stop DMing me right now. But the mon I was really just really complicated on wanting to have brought and everything. It was just so hard. And that being Cinderace, I think Cinderace could have really came good to this matchup. Powerball was really good in this matchup. Combination with High Jump Kick and or U-Turn really pivoted really well against the beating of Hydreigon, where we can almost 2 to 3 KO that every single time. 2 a KO Alakazam every single time. Powerball is extremely free for a good chunk of the team, except for Flash Fire and Typhlosion, where we can kind of whittle that down. Then there was Sucker Punch, which is good for having on Raichu and Alakazam and for prioritizing and stuff like that. Then Headbutt in order to hit the Toxapex. Super Fang to get 50% damage. Bulk Up to put on really good offensive pressure. But there was just nothing I could have done to really make Cinderace work in this matchup. I really think Cinderace can do well. Like, this is the team I'm really expecting Monk to bring. And if that was the case, I would probably run Zen Headbutt, Sucker Punch, Pyro Ball, and maybe Taunt or Bulk Up. One of the two. And or maybe Super Fang and then doing that. But the thing is, even with Super Fang, my Zen Headbutt is not doing it 50% unless I get a flinch. If I get a flinch, then I'm in that position I need to be in to actually put on heavy offensive pressure against this team. So again, I would have to rely on hacks. And sorry this team breakdown is going way longer than it probably should is. I just want to express the importance of how difficult this match is for my team. And it lets me know in the future when I watch this back if I have to facing Monk, gives me that better reassurance of what was the bigger threats for my team versus what they were going to be potential rematch. So, with all the delaying beyond, let's go ahead and break down the team we are bringing. And this is the best possible team I was thinking to bring. Um, my team in terms of what I was thinking. So first off, we're kicking off here with Gara, my Landers. There were a couple of mons I was thinking and looking, and they matched up really well, and with the whole thought process and switching around. And again, I do apologize, guys, that all of my um, things go wrong and everything like that. So, well, we're kicking off with Life Orb, Sheer Force, Landers, and I'm really risking this one because for one, it's just a really good mon. But it's not that it's a good mon, it's the fact that I'm risking it with the set. The set we are risking here is Calm Mind 3 attacks. Now, you may be asking yourself, but Thriller, why are you thinking it's a risk? It's not a risk. It is when there's an Alakazam that can Mega Evolve and kill you. So the thing is this, right? Mega Exam copies any ability that it encounters once it is sent into the battle. And as soon as it traces me, it gets Sheer Force. Now, basically, can I live a hit from Mega Zam? Yes. But there is something that my opponent Monk, though, has to take in to consideration. The good news is, if we take into consideration, is that he has to respect Zeraora speed, and if anything, has to respect Cinderace speed. Now, I don't think it's enough to go Modest in against me, and if it does, it just makes him run like max speed. Because the thing with Mega Zam is it wants to be like that Mon like Zero, where it can take advantage of speed creeping and kind of take advantage of potentially trying to run at least some pseudo bulk in terms of its offense. So if we can counteract that into where he runs timid, a timid sheer force hit from Alakazam, I should live at +1. A Modest could be a roll, which is how scary offensive that Zam is. And plus, if I don't have anything that outspeeds it or have anything that can just handle it, you can see the problem that it's facing for my team. But we have to just go with this set because Landorus honestly can just run shop against his team. I think my Landorus does beat his Landorus every single time. Psychic is unfortunately a roll to kill, but it's a roll more in his favor because the maximum I do is about 103, I'm pretty sure it was. On the percentage, it does 88 is the lowest, so 103%. So I would have to get at least about 5 to 10% chip because then that percentage jumps up then. Because then he's at around, let's say, 90%, say 95%, it leads towards more of a 50-50. If it's 90%, I basically guarantee the kill is like an absolute low roll, but I overall think Gara can put in the work this week. There was a reason I picked this thing up in free agency. I believe in it, and I know how to do well with it. Also, the reason I didn't bring Galar Moltres, even though my Galar Moltres would have been probably really good, just Pax is so stupidly fat and annoying, and plus Coco is just an ultimate counter towards me, and that was a reason why I drafted it at the BMC long time ago. But anyways, up next to our next model, which is going to be our heavy breaker for this team, it is Genesect. Genesect really got to pop off a little bit last week, picking up at least 2 KOs that game, which was really cool. Could have picked up 3, but unfortunately, Stone Edge Link didn't happen, and it killed me. I don't think it was a crit or anything, but it killed me. But Genesect was able to pop off and get a couple of KOs last week, pairing off with Serena, which was really cool. But this week's Genesect's job is to seriously just break. That's all I want him to do is break. I am taking a massive gamble this week. I only speed crept for Landorus, not Hydreigon. I am definitely feeling confident he is not bringing Hydreigon with what I have on my team in terms of whether he can afford to. And if he does bring it and he chooses to go with the same team next round, I know how to play around it next time. But we are running Technoblast, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Leech Life with the Shock Drive. Now, I think a lot of people would probably expect me to run either potentially Dows, Chill, even arguably the Burn Drive. But here's the reason I have to run Shock Drive. Shock Drive is my strongest way to hit that stupid Toxapex to a point where I can either put it in range of bug of leech like damage to kill, or put it in range of something like Ice Beam or Flamethrower that can relatively kill, and then just bait in the electric resist, which if it baits in Ferrothorn, I can kill Ferrothorn. If it baits in Landorus, I can live one hit from Landorus and kill that thing back. It wants to bring in the bait. If I could bring in the bait, live the hit from the bait, I kill and then position my rest of my team to kind of slowly but surely take the advantage of in this matchup, which I think is very important for me to play around with. Leech Life, by the way, is only there for really the Raichu, just to be able to get recovery back. Otherwise, it's really not there or anything. We are running the Hasty Nature, which again is a bit of a risk, but I think is the right nature to bring in this matchup, just with the fact that most of his team is terms of special than physical, and some of his physical mons run more special attacker hits on my team, which is beneficial towards me. So Genesect, I think, is going to be a very big asset to the team, and I really think Genesect is going to put in a lot of good work for this team. Picking up next, we actually have a really, really creative set that I thought of here with my boy Munch. And this was to counter any Rocky Helmet. This is to counter any Iron Barb shenanigans. This set will single-handedly beat Toxapex, and in theory could single-handedly beat the Ferroform. Now, you might be asking yourself, huh? Hear me out. Sub Leech Life. Sub Leech Life is able to make sure I can stay healthy without having to run leftovers, and can be able to get my natural support from the Ferroform to the point where he has to pick a sack to break the sub I kill with either Vicious Ren, that I can get a kill with then with Vicious Ren, which is really cool, which opens up the door a lot for my team, which is really great. And that's what Munch's job is going to do today. And this is a very unique spread I've gone with Munch as well. So if you hear any noises outside, I apologize. We are running enough speed on Dracovish to outspeed a zero speed invested Lander. So if he runs one more like a very defensive Landorus than I'm expecting, which could definitely be a possibility in terms of if he wants something with rocks, if he doesn't want Ferrothorn to run rocks for his game, he wants something like Spikes, Leech Seed, Protect, or like Knock Off, Protect, Leech Seed, and then some other turn of hazards potentially. Munch, again, with the protective pads, stops Rocky Helmets from really doing anything and really puts in a lot of good work this matchup. I really think Dracovish can put in a ton of work this game. And I don't say it's going to win, but it can definitely be that breaker I know it can be if we can position ourselves very carefully. As long as we can get ourselves in a position where we can bait that we're scarfed, we're really, really good. Like, if this is lead against Landers or something against Coco has to be careful because of the fact that if I outspeed, I kill. Landorus, 100% of the percent is going to switch out unless it is scarfed. If it is scarfed, it clicks U-turn every single time. And gets that advantage off on me, which is going to be suck. But would pay off in the advantage for me because one, I get to know if it's scarfed, and two, I get to fear him into what happens, and I get a free sub as he brings in something like Ferrothorn, or he brings in something like Toxapex. And again, I click sub on that turn. I can be able to 2 a KO then, relatively 2 a KO the Toxapex, beat that thing down. Ferrothorn comes in. I 1v1 Ferrothorn and get free subs up again until he has to bring something that has to sack off or has to just break the sub and hopefully lives a hit type of thing. So I think Munch really puts in a lot of good offensive, but also provides a good defensive work position for this team. Up next, we're bringing Sunday. We're finally bringing some Calm Mind shenanigans this week. We are bringing Psychic Flamethrower, Draining Kiss, Calm Mind. We're bringing a second Calm Mind user, even though, yes, I understand that Toxapex is most likely going to have Haze. He is most likely going to have Recover, Haze, Scald, and either Toxic or Toxic Spikes. I do understand that is a possibility for him to bring that against me, but in my honest opinion, I have to go with my gut on this one. This set lets me able to 2 KO Toxapex guaranteed, and I can live any hit from Toxapex. The good news is it's not going to hit me with a poison move because he doesn't really have it. The good news is this: if I can start Calm Minding, I can actually be able to handle a lot of his team, which is going to be very, very good for us. If I can get a Calm Mind off and I Psychic, get a Spadef drop as he goes for the Haze, which I think actually would have helped him actually. I then, in theory, can put myself in a position after that, even though it's like, don't get the Spadef off, and let's say he's around 40 to 40-ish%, I can still, I believe, have a roll to kill him without that +1 boost, which is going to be really great for us. If it makes me overpredict, it makes me overpredict. I do still have the Unburden ability, so if he somehow still knocks off my leftovers, that actually will still somewhat benefit me, but not to a full extent. What's also really good is that this can actually then be able to help me beat the Zam 1v1 if I get a Calm Mind or two off. So Slurpuff could be a potential win condition in this matchup. I do have to play Slurpuff smart. I do have to be very careful with my Slurpuff as well, so not let it get any too weakened or something like that. If we could get that Unburden to pop off, that only caps me out at 360 speed, which honestly is not going to really cut it unless he's not running a ton of speed on Coco, which Coco is going to run at least enough speed to outspeed my Cinderace to the very much, which definitely would force it timid. But again, I would have already been at certain speed creeps, and I can actually play around it. In that, but outside of that, I can outspeed things like Raichu. I can outspeed things like Landorus and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things I can outspeed without Scarfers with my Unburden boost if I get it. So I'm really hoping Slurpuff can help put us in the work this matchup, and I really hope we can do well with it. Up next, we got my girl Thick, who was, I believe, who I gave the title to in the video for us because of how much work she actually really did for us. We're bringing a very unique Serena set this time. It's kind of defensive, but it's more towards an offensive Serena. We have Taunt, 3 attacks this week. Taunt cripples Ferrothorn. Taunt neutralizes um, Toxapex. So if it doesn't have a move that can hit Serena, he is stuck with Scald. And if he has to go for it, he goes for it. Power Up is not a bad move against this mod. I really wanted Zenhebit on this set, but I feel like Zenhebit really didn't benefit me all that well. I was also going to be thinking about running protective pads on this thing as well, but I think at the end of the day, I decided against it just because of the fact that I think protective pads doesn't really offer me too much. He is going to have a Rocky Helmet Mon, even though, yes, it's probably not going to be the Ferroform. Ferroform, if it's not Rocky Helmet, only does a small chunk to me, and I can Iron Bars damage back. And again, if I'm hit with the Rocky Helmet from Toxapex, it's basically the same as Iron Bars, and I can recover off of that. So in the end, I'm not losing too much, but I also don't gain too much at the same time. The three attacks that we have here actually can really help Serena put any ton of offensive pressure. I was also really thinking of running Assault Vest on this thing, but I think Taunt is a little more crucial just because it stops also any potential setup if it can kind of deter him away from setting up if he has it, if he sees the taunt from my Mons. And he could probably think of a play where he's probably going to go for the pretty nasty play, and then as I taunt him, trying to stop it, or if I go for, he goes for the nasty play and then I go for the attack. So it's like mind games a little bit of what he could do there. Because if I force him to attack versus setting up, I can actually either get a free kill, or I force him to attack me, weaken me to the point where I could still kill him, but then he's then pressured into thinking what he's got to do next. So I overall think that Serena can be good this matchup. I'm really hoping to go with my gut here on this, and definitely have full confidence with it. And also making his debut is my boy Afro, the Bouffalond. Also, sorry if you keep hearing things. My cats don't want to stop moving around so much. But we have Afro here, our Bouffalont this week, with Head Charge, Facade, Close Combat, Earthquake. You really look at his team. He does not have a fighting type, so I'm definitely going to take full advantage of the fact that he does not have one and bring my boy Boof. But there's a reason why we're in a very specific set. First, Assault Vest really matches up extremely well against most of Monk's team, which I think is really, really, really good. Head Charge, there is not a lot of switches on his team for Head Charge, except Rocky Helmet Mons. And the only things he has for Head Charge are literally Armaldo and Ferroform. Ferroform, I go close combat with. I hit close combats with. And what's also really cool about having this set is that even if the Landers intimidates me, Head Charge will still boost it up. So basically, if Head Charge gets intimidated, it's basically going back to pretty much primarily under like a standard base damage offensive without Reckless. So that's what's really, really cool about that as well. I do have Facade, so in case if I do get burned into some sort of a fashion, I take full advantage of that facade of my Facade with my normal stab. And he does have to be careful of Bouffalon, because if I am Sapsid with Bouffalon, he could actually make my Bouffalon very much stronger. So he has to kind of play around Bouffalon and know some things first before he can try to decipher anything, which is really, really good because we force him to have to think first before acting, which I think is really, really good for our team. 176 in the HP, 196 attack, adamant nature, and the rest went into Spadev to give us a really good Spadev tanking Hitmon. I could have run like max HP, max def with the rest sleep talk set, but I just think overall it wasn't worth it. I think having Earthquake's really good to handle the Raichu and the Coco without having to click Facade and or Head Charge to take any damage that I really need to, which I think is ultimately really good. So overall, that is going to be the team, guys. Like I said, I don't really think I'm going to be able to win this one and go 6-0, but if we do, this would be a big statement victory for us, and I think would clinch us guaranteed top 3 of the seeding. So I think that's really, really good. Again, I'm pretty sure we're already clinched for playoffs, but I want to keep wanting to win every single game that I possibly can, because guaranteeing a round 1 bye actually could be really beneficial towards us, because then we can plan out against who we face in the playoffs in the semifinals. So definitely some big things to come there. Again, sorry for all the Discord notifications. I cannot control those, so that's all it is. And also sorry for that the Teambuilder was probably extremely longer than most of them. I felt like going really in depth with this one, just because if I want to watch this back, in case that's a rematch Monk, I want to know exactly what I was thinking in the thought process and going back and then thinking about exactly what I thought and the flaws, and then build back around that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. I'm going to head to bed. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!